Wu Chang censorship situation. Uh-oh, what's going on?
I read this article and honestly, I feel like this is, if it's what I recall, I feel like we're using words in a very clickbaity fashion, but I'll
welcome to journalism. Especially Kotaku of all places.
Explain what I mean.
All right.
Because it's described as Wu Chang Fallen Feathers fans celebrate owning the disc after controversial update censors the game. And when I think censorship in the context of video games, I think of like, you know, you had a character that was talented and then you cover up the talent. You know?
Imagine you cover me up.
I feel like you are, you have maybe something in your game that just swings low, sweet chariots with quality, and then you pin up the quality. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? You're picking up what I'm stepping in. Know what I'm saying? Peter has a beard. Also, thank you for the sub over on Twitch. Thank you, my friend.
Yo, thank you for the sub.
But this apparently is not that at all. It's been called a lot of things. Soul slop, gooner bait.
There it is. They're giving it the Stellar Blade treatment. That actress is too hot. I bet they didn't even have a realistic woman model this one.
A surprisingly good game. You can now add censored, quote unquote, to the list after the recent 1.5 update made controversial changes to the game, seemingly to quell backlash from some fans in China. A few diehard fans are now relieved they bought the game on disc, knowing they can always access the original version of the action game that released last month.
That's actually so base. They don't patch it out or anything.
What did they do? Did they cover everybody up in burlap? What happened? Well, the newest patch arrived earlier this week and made a bunch of changes, most of which seemed innocuous enough. Some were enthusiastically welcomed, like a sped up healing animation.
Okay.
It's a good thing to have. Fine. The ability to cancel out of recovery animation by dodging. That's a good thing to have. Improved iframes when recovering from getting knocked down.
That's good.
That's also cool. Tightening up the combat and stuff like that. I love that.
All right.
Other changes were more ominous than they first appeared, though. Quote, added dialogues for some NPC to complete some plots.
Okay. Be more specific.
Not sure what that means. We will further optimize the exhaustion animations in the future to improve the plot performance. Okay.
Exhaustion?
Okay. Not sure what that means. What was developer Lin Z talking about? Well, it soon became clear, as shared on social media by Souls aficionado and early advocate for Wu Chang, Lance McDonald. Quote, what they mean is they made it so you can no longer kill any historically significant bosses or NPCs. They changed it so any historically significant bosses or NPCs can't be killed. Now they just get exhausted and
relax after the fight. Wait, what?
Like relax after the fight and talk to you. So I'm guessing this is like in Starfield when you try to kill like a quest giver and they just drop to all fours and they're like, oh, I need a minute. And you're like, I just shot you with a bazooka in the face.
I need to take a breather right now.
I just need a second. And then after a few minutes, they stand up and talk to you.
That's
and it's
the
like,
censorship. It's
John
so
didn't
dumb.
like that. I'm guessing that's what they're doing.
China's notoriously crybaby with stuff like this. Yeah, I think it's a little bit weird.
Here, historical figures that previously died within the fictional game, like Liu Wenchu and Liu Chengin. I'm so sorry. I'm from Colorado. What did you expect? My pronunciation is going to be bad. And Emperor Chongzhen are now live on. They can't be killed. Let's see. Daniel said, yep, the game isn't even officially released in China. It doesn't have a publishing license. Too much of its content goes against what's allowed to be depicted in games in China anyway. This is really weird that the devs would just falter like this to vocal minorities. Lance replied, people got mad you can kill the late stage Ming Dynasty Dragon Emperor in game, but he was literally dead by this point in history, and you kill a horrific zombie version.
They really get touchy about that kind of thing. Yeah. I think America has kind of like something like an equivalent of that, like talking about 9/11 or putting that into a video game. It really depends on the situation. I can't say, I'm not Chinese, but I feel like they're just like a little bit too sensitive about that kind of thing.
of him to stop his resurrection. Anyone offended by that is wild, and having him survive now ruins the plot. It is wild to like retcon the plot of your game in a patch. Like, imagine at the end of Last of Us Part 2 if they patched it and they're like, oh no, now Ellie drowns the shit out of Abby. They're like, yeah, just we updated it, made it a little better. Imagine if they did that.
I mean, they did that with the final character and them getting beaten over the head with a golf club in the actual show. But I think the more historically accurate thing would be, like, again, recreating 9/11 or something like that. I think that, like, certain people are too sensitive about that kind of thing, and I get why they're sensitive. I can't... And in China, you can't get published unless it's approved by the government, so... yeah.
It'd be ridiculous. Yeah, W's in chat. But that's basically what they're doing here, is they're changing it. So
oh yeah, and the other thing, zombies are a big no in Chinese media. This chatter's actually totally right. This is relevant to World of Warcraft. When they made Wrath of the Lich King, which was like Death Knight and resurrecting, and there's zombies, and there's undead and skeletons and exposed bone, they had to censor the client specifically and spend months and months censoring the game because the Chinese audience... or the Chinese government, rather, I should say, said that you're not allowed to, like, have that visible in the game itself, and so they did that. They had to, like, rework the game.
Boss that you killed...
and change names and stuff,
as, like,
too.
the high point climax of the story, now just gets exhausted and, like, talks to you after the fight. That's pretty stupid. That's pretty dumb. Okay. It still doesn't sound... like, again, I feel like if you put this picture on screen and you say it's censored... I think people will assume something else is happening. But I
assumed that. Yeah, I won't lie. I thought it was about her titties or something.
Get what they mean. Yeah, the CCP patch. It feels like
Kotaku
they are...
bait.
I don't know if they're trying to get a publishing license in China, and they're trying to tone it down so that they can get that, because in China you can't depict their historical figures that way. I guess. But yeah, this is crazy. McDonald continued, like actual censorship due to pressure from Chinese players who are upset about being able to kill historically significant characters from the end of the Ming Dynasty. Crazy to see it. Players are reporting that the quote-unquote pray gesture has been removed that you previously learned from the Portuguese Christian character in the game.
Wait, what?
Learned from the Portuguese Christian character in the game. So they removed, like, the ability to pray as a gesture. I mean, like, talk about snowflakes, man. Like, what the hell
that
are we
is
doing?
very
Like,
weird, huh?
This is crazy. This is crazy. A series of Ming soldiers in Chapter 4 have also been changed to not fight the player, making a previously challenging section now a breeze. Because they literally don't fight you. What are we doing?
See, this is what I mean. Censorship is so cringe.
What are we doing? Like, this is crazy, dude.
It's changing the literal art form of them making the game.
They're literally, like, redoing entire chunks of the game, seemingly to just appease a vocal minority. But I guess maybe the argument is just that their hope is to get the publishing license in China.
Well, to be fair, it's like you need to make money somehow. That's why censorship sucks, because they have the dangling over the money over your head.
And that represents another, like, 2 million copies, maybe more. And so they're like, we just have to release in China. So let's just get it fixed up. And this is what their lawyers are telling them to do. And so they're trying to do that so they can release in China. And they're hoping that then they can make a lot more money. Maybe that's pretty much all it is. Combined with some more general nerfs to enemy armor and various boss fights, players have been revolting against patch 1.5 on Steam and Reddit. where some have accused the Wu Chang subreddit mods of deleting complaints.
Ooh,
Quote, after 80
Reddit.
hours on Steam, I pulled the trigger for console, one fan wrote. Long live Wu Chang 1.0. Some players are currently trying
Reddit
to roll back
moment.
updates on Steam by editing files. Not everyone's raging against the latest update as performance continues slowly but surely to improve on PC. It was pretty rough at first. But that does mean that Wu Chang's Steam review rating is finally recovering. Not quite. Complaints of frame rate crashes have been replaced by review bombing over alleged censorship. For its part, Lindsay hasn't said why it changed Wu Chang's story. Update 1.5 went live on PS5 and Xbox.
But they're lying. They literally did change the plot of the story where there's one part that's completely cooked. Wow, man. I don't know, bro. I didn't think it was that bad, but
There's
damn.
XNS earlier today when this was written. It looks like it was
China
posted
L, dude.
yesterday.
China L.
It is kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy to literally change the plot of your game in a patch. That's kind of ridiculous. And then to like literally also updating it, removing entire sections of the game where now enemies don't attack you. So it goes from being incredibly difficult to incredibly easy. And it's like, oh,
It is not uncommon. The Fat Man in Fallout 4 is named differently for Japan, plus Australia was angry over morphine in the game, so it became Med-X. Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. In the originals, I'm pretty sure it was called morphine, and they had to change it. Yeah, you're right. I think it's the Nuka launcher in Japan. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Again, I think people are just a little bit too fucking sensitive.
oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
kind of lame. Kind of sucks. But I think it literally is being done just because they're trying to get access to release in China, and that represents enough cash that it's worth
Well, maybe they're not breaking even. You never know.
redoing all of this. So they're like, just go along with it. Go along with it. Who cares? Whatever. That's wild, dude. It's wild. I mean, again, I
It's funny because I thought this was going to be about censoring her body or something, because this is a female protagonist in a Dark Souls-like game, but it turns out they're just sensitive about skeletons and the Ming Dynasty.
still think that the word censorship,
Wow.
at least
Impressive.
in the title, makes me think of something else. But I do agree, after reading it, it does sound like it is being censored specifically to try and appeal to the Chinese regulators who would allow them to sell the game in China. So it would technically fit the definition. Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I just hear censorship and I'm like, so boobs? But that's not what it is.
Yeah, me too.
Gotta get my head out of the gutter. I'm the problem.
Well, we're just used to it because of Stellar Blade, to be fair.
But this is wild. Again, like
Yeah.
literally think of any other game where they change this and like, yeah, so the big boss fight, yeah, he lives now. Sorry, not sorry.
Change the
Be
plot
ridiculous.
of the game, man.
Everybody be like, what the hell are you doing? And it would be fair to bring that up. Let me see Wu Chang's Steam page. It's sitting at mixed.
Ooh.
Censorship changed story bits that don't make any sense to comfort fragile Chinese nationalism. Wouldn't have bought the game if I knew it would be censored. Sadly, 1.5 patch adds censorship and
People
makes
are
changes to NPC
pissed.
dialogues.
And these aren't even people that have been playing for like an hour or two. These people played it for like 70 hours. Yeah.
NPC
That's
deaths,
a decent amount
quest
for a
outcomes,
Souls
and gameplay
game.
mechanics such as the madness system. It completely affects the story's message and endings. There is no transparency whatsoever. The details are let out and stay hidden behind general patch description, so you don't expect these changes at all. I'm 57 hours in, enjoying the game so far. One of the greatest level designs since the original Dark Souls. Captivating story. Gameplay is fantastic with some game performance improvement. I would give it a solid 8 or 9 out of 10. Still in chapter 3, did not want to give it a score yet. Then patch 1.5 showed up. Game performance improvements are welcome, but this must be the first time I've heard of story plot change post-release. As far as I'm aware, plot change made the story completely different and even makes some of the characters' motivations pointless. I don't know what kind of
Art censorship leading into problems with continuity? Wow, what a surprise.
pressure Lindsay got to go as far as changing the game's plot. I've read that it was criticized by some gamers for not being historically accurate, but the story is fiction, is it not? Yeah. It's why, like, we were just talking about this on Wednesday. The old DLC for Assassin's Creed 3, which is pretty wild at this point. I mean, honestly, it's pretty ridiculous at this point. But it was literally historical fiction in an alternative timeline where George Washington went mad with power and became King Washington. And the DLC is literally called The Tyranny of King Washington. Like, can you imagine if they tried to do this with like a Chinese emperor or
they'd be pissed.
Something, and they're like, yeah, so Mao, he's now got superpowers and he's a zombie and you have to fight him.
Yeah, what about all the Hitler freaking references in like historical video games? Yeah.
Throughout the game, and then he's the final boss fight. Like, they would lose their minds. They'd lose their minds. Whereas in America, we're like, oh, that's freaking cool as hell. I would love.
Yeah, I want to see that George Washington being a badass. That's right, he's a tyrant.
Loved if George Washington would have been king, would have gotten rid of all these communists. It's just very different, very different. It's too bad. The DLC was like kind of ridiculous. I didn't get to play it till years after the fact because it was so broken. It was like so broken at launch. But it had like all sorts of magical effects in it too. And then it had like a final boss fight on top of a gigantic pyramid that George Washington was building in Washington, or in Philadelphia, I think it was. Like, you can kind of see it here. Like, literally they were building a gigantic pyramid. It's like pretty unhinged as far as like DLC go. But it's back in the day when Assassin's Creed would just do wild stuff and you'd be like, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? But anyway, yeah, they shouldn't censor it. That's freaking stupid as hell, and I don't blame people for being upset about it. I can't think of a time where another game has literally cut and changed the story and like final boss fight outcomes post-launch. Like, that's pretty insane.
I'm not surprised. Not the first time the CCP has done something stupid. Yeah. Red flag. King Corner! We need George Washington to become the next king tyrant. Yep, that's right. Go check them out. Very nice. That was a good vidya. Yeah. But all in all, I was very impressed with how the Chinese government is they have such a stranglehold over video games and art in general that they can do this kind of thing and be like, well, if you don't follow us, then you can't be published. Like, even the American government's not that bad yet, you know? Like, with Collective Shout, like, yeah, they're stopping payment processors, but this is impressive to me. Like, you're not even fucking allowed to publish. They have that kind of power over them.